a guest here from the UK. Her name is Paulette Harris-German, and she is the associate producer for the movie The Story of Lovers Rock, which is an amazing movie about the British revolution of reggae music back from the 70s to the 80s, I believe. And they had some amazing interviews on there, one involving Moxie Priest, Aswad, and the director-producer Menelik Shabazz. Could you tell us a little bit about the movie and why you're here in LA to do such a wonderful documentary that we're all waiting to hear about?
I'm here at the Pan-African Film Festival, the 20th Pan-African Film Festival, to promote our documentary, The Story of Lovers Rock, as you've already said, directed by and written and produced by Menelik Shabazz. It is a documentary that tracks the making of Lovers Rock, which is a genre of soft reggae that came out of the first generation of Caribbean-born young people, and it's set against what was happening politically and socially at the time for us as we were growing up. A lot of our artists, when they wrote their songs, they were like 14, 15, 16 years old. In fact, there's one of the groups that's called 15, 16, 17, which is the ages they were at the time when they started recording. The documentary features a lot of what we call the queens and kings of Lovers Rock. So we've got, we've got Janet Kay, we've got Carol Thompson, Sylvia Teller, and some other artists. We've got Paul Dawkins,
UB40,
UB40
my
is definitely
boys
featured in there, yeah, from Birmingham.
That's right.
And it just looks at how they were, came to be involved in music, what was happening for them at the time, and how it really looks at how the music has gone on to influence music globally. And what the documentary actually does is it tracks how well the music is done, but how little the artists at the time actually received from making that music. And so really for us, it's just showing now that they're only just coming into their own.
Oh wow! Now I didn't really realize that that was that much that there was that kind of racial tension during that time period in England,
yes,
in the UK, because of
so.
Here we're told that you guys don't have the same kind of problems or issues that we have here in the United States by being people of color. And after seeing a little bit of the trailer and meeting people from the various countries, that is not the case at all.
No.
What do you have to say about that?
That is the case. I mean, it's the case that we have had. It was a really tough time. It was very, very stark winters then. My parents came over in the 60s, very early 60s. I was born in, maybe I shouldn't say, but in the 60s. And what was happening is it's the usual unrest that you get when a new community moves into an existing community, and it's that level of acceptance or non-acceptance that posed a lot of problems. So what we were finding as young people was that because we were the firstborn of Caribbean parents, we were having to live a Caribbean lifestyle at home, but having to assimilate into a Western way of living in schools and on the streets. So where the racial tension started to build was that crossover between acceptance. So we got poor housing, we got poor jobs, but a lot of people don't know that our parents were invited into Britain to rebuild after the war.
Oh wow.
And so we had what we call the Windrush, which was 1945, which was a bit earlier. But then after that, there was another draft, one for a better term, in the Caribbean where they were invited to come over, work on the buses, work on the railway and so forth. And whilst doing that, a lot of them only planned to come to the UK for 5 years. So they were going to make some money and go home. 30, 40 years on, some of them are still there. Some have never gone back home, and we are that legacy. So the racial tension came out of the lack of understanding, and just the different cultural, stances.
And so this music became like a healing balm between the racial tension and the music or the creative community there, and out of that was born this movement, cultural movement called Lovers Rock.
Yeah.
Now I have to say, after watching it, it reminds me of when we were younger and my mother would say they're down there doing the dirty dancing, the nasty dancing. That's what I'm gonna say. You can't go to any parties because they're down there doing the nasty dance. Of that same kind of thing where it was all the rubbing and the scrubbing with each other, and they were in basements over here in the dark rubbing with each other.
So there is that synergy, because that's exactly, we had a club called Nations, which was in North London, and it was over 3 floors, but the best floor was the basement, I have to say, and people will tell you, pitch black, never knew who you were dancing with, all of that. So yes, the music was influenced. The reggae was against from Jamaica, and then but the softer side of it came through the R&B, the ska, and so forth. So there was an amalgamation of the two, and so young people started to aspire to the Diana Rosses and so forth, and in that started to evolve because they could see then that they were able to have a part of that and explore themselves. And a lot of us were kind of choreographing. You do that youthful thing when you're choreographing and just writing down lyrics for songs and so forth, and then eventually you start writing your own.